Welcome to the Operation Game Night podcast. We are back and better than ever. And Clay has returned. Clayton, welcome back to the Operation Game Night podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. As always, you carried on with dignity and honor without me. You and Vic and our extremely early guest, Peter C. Hayward, had a great episode. I love listening to that. But now I'm back, so our quality has to take a bit of a hit for a week, but I'm sure I'll find a reason to go away again soon.
Well, the good news is we are going to get a bump in quality here in about 25 minutes, half an hour, when Peter C. Hayward returns, his triumphant return to the show. We kind of did these episodes a bit out of order. It would have been nice to just like kind of BS with him after a more formal interview, but he's coming back today. We're going to grill him about not just his games, but life in general. We're going to grill him and really put him on the spot.
What's Peter think about things?
That's right. What does he think? Let's get his take. But first, we're going to debrief some games. And then afterwards, we're going to maybe go over the fence if we have some time with Peter. And but before we do all that, before we jump in, I just want to say, if you are listening to this podcast, do us a favor and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're trying to get those numbers up a little bit. We are, by the time this airs, we're going to be like 1 week away from our 2-year anniversary. We have been grinding this show for 2 years. I think we took like a week off, maybe.
I think maybe 1
week in 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's dedication.
So I think people owe us a subscription on YouTube. It's free. Go ahead and help us out. Help us juice that algorithm. And if you're already subscribed, give us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a review. Help us reach a larger audience so that we can continue to make this podcast great.
Yeah. Travis, you promised me early on in this. You said, Clay, I know things are dire now and nobody's listening to this except your mom. But if we stay true to ourselves and we keep putting out content, we will hit the tipping point. And I feel the tipping point coming, Travis. 2 years in the making.
That's right.
And I think we're going to make it.
That's right. Yeah.
Peter's going to take us there.
In like 10 years when we're like, oh my God, we're almost at a decade of doing this. Then, and we're still having minimal listens per week. It's going to be real depressing. But, by that time we will have blown up. Be the biggest thing since sliced bread. People will be requesting us to make appearances on their podcast. So if you're down to collaborate, let us know.
Yep, we'll collab.
That's right. We're down to collab. Go ahead and hit us up on Instagram if you want to do a collab. But let's debrief some games. Clay, we missed you last week. I'm sure you've been getting that gaming in. Tell me what you have been playing.
Oh my God, so much, Travis. I've played so many games, but I kind of want to talk about a situation in particular.
Okay.
That a game really came through for me. All right. So I'm new in I got a new job. For those of you who have been following along, we had a big convention last week. So I had to go to Baltimore with all my new colleagues. We were there for like 7 days. I wasn't 7 days. It was like 5 days, but we were staying the night. It was, long days. And I took a flyer. I was like, I'm going to be around these people. There's going to be maybe some downtime. I'm going to throw a couple games in my backpack and just really unleash the full nerd on my new colleagues here
Excellent.
In the wrestling world. So I mentioned it to one of our more extroverted companions on the team, and he got pumped. He's like, yeah, dude, tonight it's the exhibitor social. It's going to be awesome. Let's bring some of your games down from your room. I was stressing, because I still don't know these people that well. I'm like, this is a big moment. What do I bring down? So I brought Cockroach Poker. Now we're dealing with a late night. There's a couple drinks, we got wrestling coaches. Everybody's having a good time. I was like, Cockroach Poker, this is going to be it. So I pull it out. This guy, he gathered up a bunch of these Division I wrestling coaches. He's like, hey, this guy's got a board game podcast. Come play a game with him. So I'm stressed. I'm like, holy cow, the pressure is on. Cockroach Poker, please don't let me down. I haven't played Cockroach Poker in a long time, but it felt like the right move for the crowd. And I wasn't wrong.
Okay.
They loved it.
Nice.
So in Cockroach Poker, if you haven't played it, it's just a straight up bluffing game. You've got all these creepy, crawly insects. And on your turn, you take a card, you pass it to somebody, and you say, hey, this is a rat. That person gets the card, and they have to decide whether or not they want to accept the card. If they accept the card, they have to make a declaration as to whether you told them the truth or not. So they don't have to accept it. They can just look at it and then pass it on. And they can give it to somebody else and say, yeah, it is a rat. Or they can say, no, this is actually a cockroach. Mm-hmm. Now that person has the same choice to make. Are they lying to me? Can I call them out? And the goal is, if you do call somebody out and you were right, they have to keep the card face up in front of them. And so when somebody gets 4 cards of the same type in front of them, they lose. So you're sending these insects around the table, and somebody's got a bunch of flies. So you're like, all right, I'm sending a fly. All right, here you go. This is a frog. And you're hoping they call you out on it, because now they're going to take that 4th fly. But it's just a perfect late night game just to have a laugh. I had to pee so bad. I played one game. I ran off to pee, and they started playing again. They were in another game, and then it was getting late. I left. I was like, I got to go to bed. It's early tomorrow. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to play another round. So all these wrestling coaches just kept playing Cockroach Poker. They came down the next day. Everybody's like, oh man, I'm going to buy that game. That game was so much fun. So Cockroach Poker hit a home run at the wrestling coaches convention.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the right mix. Like everyone can do bluffing, and there's literally like 0 to no rules to explain. Yeah. You just you bluff, you either accept it or you pass it. The end. That's the game.
The end. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the it's all about the right tool for the right audience, and Cockroach Poker was the right tool. Okay. I also did play Fruit Fight with them. They all like that too, but it did not go. Cockroach Poker definitely won the night. Like that was the one everybody couldn't stop talking about.
Did you hand out a bunch of OGN stickers?
I didn't go that far, but
I feel like I need to start carrying them around with me, because every time I'm like, man, I want to either put a sticker on there or on something or hand one out. I never have them with me.
Yeah, I know. I've got so many here. And
I procured a copy of Mountain Goat's Legacy this week on Facebook Marketplace for super cheap.
No way.
And yeah, I wanted to give the dude a OGN sticker, but I didn't have any with me. I'm gonna have to start carrying them.
I really want Mountain Goat's Legacy, Travis.
Well, maybe I'll debrief it for you next week so you can live vicariously through me.
This is what we do. What do you got to debrief, man?
Well, I had intended on buttering up our guest host, Peter C. Hayward, because I played Triangulation, which is his new party game, and it is a kind of guess the word type team based party game into like a code names almost. But on this one, what you do is you have a secret little shield if you are the person that is offering up these guessing points, and your team is looking at the words that you are writing on these cards with a little dry erase marker. So I pick up a card and it says that I'm trying to get my team to guess. Let's say the example is like Velma from Scooby-Doo.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the common one that I've seen people talk about. I write on a card orange, and I show it to everybody, and people are like, "What the heck, orange? Like it could be anything. I don't know." And then I write glasses, and then people are thinking like, "Oh man, there's a bunch of characters out there that like wear orange glasses or wear orange and glasses. I don't know." But then I write like detective or something, and then I put that out there. My team, I'm trying to get my team to guess Velma from Scooby-Doo before the other team can guess it. So it's kind of like code names where I'm trying to portray information to get them to guess the right words without the other team guessing the word that I want them.
In that way, it's kind of like Decrypto, right?
It is a bit like Decrypto, yeah. And so you are trying to triangulate your team into guessing the right word before the enemy team guesses it. And
does your team have any advantage, or is it literally just the same information?
Well, I think you get like first guess. Really, that's that's the key thing. But yeah, it's one of those party games. It's super light. you play it as many rounds as you feel like it. It's kind of like one of those games where you're just like, you keep going. Nobody's really keeping score after a while, and then you just put it back in the box. It's a cool game. It actually came out with grunts in that latest round of all play releases. So finally got this one played. It's cool. It's a small box party game that is, if you're into word guessing games like that, then this is right up your alley.
Peter in the word games, Peter's got word games. He's got things and rings up there, fiction, first class letters. I'm sure there's more. I didn't even know about triangulation. Yeah. Probably should have studied our guest a little better. But yeah, that's cool. We'll ask him about that. We'll ask him why he's so into word games. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for when Peter pops on and he can answer for his crimes in word games.
All right. What else you got, Clay?
What else do I got? So I've played so many things. I also played Stonk Market.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So this is a new tiny box all play game. Apparently this used to be called Weedle. This is a Knizia game. And I think this is one Cole Worley says is like his favorite game to just take around. He has it with him everywhere. The Weedle version. So all play just came out with this called Stonk Market. And it reminded me a lot of Pit. If any of you have played that old trading game, there's a bell and you bang it. So essentially you just get dealt a bunch of these different stock cards, so there's like 9 hippo stock. There's, whatever. If it has a number 9 on it, there's 9 of it. And there's a couple stocks that have 9 cards. There's a couple stocks that have 7 cards. And there's some stocks that have 5 cards. And for the round to end, your whole hand has to consist of a majority of stock cards. Okay. So if I had 5 of the 7, whatever the company was, cards, Chatterfly, 5 of the 7 Chatterflies, and then I had 3 of the 5 Slinkos, and that was my whole hand. Every card in my hand is contributing to a majority. I yell stonks, the round's over, and then you add up your score. And your score is, if you have a majority of the stock, you get 1 point per card you have. If you have all of the cards of that stock, you get 2 points per card you have of it. And then if you were the one that yelled stonks, you get an extra 5 points. And there is one card in the middle that you can trade with. So everybody can at any time trade with a card in the middle. And whatever that card is left over at the end of the round, you lose a point for every card you have of that. But essentially the game is you deal out the cards and then it's just a real-time trading frenzy. Cool. Hey, anybody got any hippocampus or whatever? I'll give you some Chatterfly, and everybody's just yelling over each other, making trades, boom, boom, boom. And somebody else stonks, it's over. You play 3 rounds. It's, like a 15-minute game, but it's frenetic. It's fun. I like it a lot.
That sounds like a blast. That sounds like a game that Jared would love. That's a Jared game.
With the right crew, this game will be a highlight. Yeah. With a stuffy group, it might fall pretty flat.
do all the stocks have the same number of, or do all the companies have the same number of stocks circulating? Like, how do I know that I have all of the Chatterfly stocks?
Yeah. So Chatterfly is a 7.
Okay.
So, in the corner of every Chatterfly, it says 7. That means there's 7 Chatterfly cards out there. Okay. So as soon as I have, 7 Chatterflies, I know I have them all. So, all the cards are out there. So I'm sitting there with like 3 Chatterflies. I need 1 more to have a majority of that. I'm like, yo, who's got a Chatterfly? I'll get you some Slinko, and they're like, okay, well, you give me 2 Slinko, I'll give you this 1 Chatterfly. And it's just that kind of trading back and forth. And it's just crazy and fun.
That's like kind of in the same vein as Space Team. You ever played Space Team?
Oh yeah.
That game is great. That was like one of my very first party games that I brought to the table. Yeah. And I took it when I was on my first deployment, and we played that thing like crazy, and we were getting wild playing some Space Team.
That's a co-op, right? Is that co-op?
It's co-op. You're trying to resolve a bunch of malfunctions in your deck in front of you, and you have both events. You have both events and space parts and dilemmas that you're trying to solve. So you flip your top one over and it says that you need these 2 parts. So everyone at the same time is trying to solve a dilemma. They're shouting like, I need the thing that looks like the snail shell with a little like bubbler at the top. I need this like corkscrew. And sometimes it'll have the name of the device that you need. And sometimes it'll just have a picture. And so people are shouting at each other all over the place. If somebody has the piece that I need and they're sitting across the table from me, they can't hand me the piece. It has to be passed person to person around to get to me. Once I have them in my hand, I can resolve that one. And then the events are like switch seats, switch hands with people. The floor is lava. Like you can't let your feet touch the floor for the rest of the game. And it gets crazy. And you're trying to beat a timer to reveal all the spaceship parts, to assemble them in the middle, and then yell space team and save the day. So.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I highly recommend Stonk Market for the right crew, and for the $9 all play tiny box. Like, keep it with you. You never know. Keep that in Cockroach Poker, and you're sure to start a party somewhere.
Oh yeah, we should play stonks with the crew at PAX Unplugged.
Absolutely,
that'd be good.
Do you play anything else, or were you just sucking up to Peter?
Well, no, I have been dipping more into Mr. President, the digital version. Holy cow. Like, I cannot believe how many systems that they have included in this game. It is crazy. And not systems as in mechanics, but like there's just so much going on. It's just so baffling to me that somebody would be like, I'm going to simulate an entire presidency in a board game on cards.
Yeah.
Like that just blows my mind. So yeah, I'm still digging into that. And then I spent the week trying to learn. I had a recent shipment come in with Star Trek Captain's Chair.
Oh.
Which is having a moment right now. And it kind of plays like the Star Wars deck building game. It's got a little bit of that in there. So I am digging that, but I want to do it justice. So I'm going to debrief that next week's, but
yeah. Okay. Well, next week's going to be a banger because I also have a sneak preview for what I want to talk about next week, which is the newest, hottest, goldest of the Knizia games, Gold Country.
Nice.
Yep. I got that and got one play of it. I want to play it again this week. And then I really want to talk about it for reals next week. So you owe me Captain's Chair and I owe you Gold Country. We're shaking on it right now.
All right. Bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Captain's Chair. I got the base version and they have the Boldly Go, which is like expand alone with like different captains and different ships and different scenarios and stuff. And then they have second contact, first contact or something. Like there's like 3 separate boxes and they're all kind of expansions and standalones to one another.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to do that one justice because that's getting some love right now. And I want to make sure that I do that justice as a re-implementation of the ever successful Imperium line.
Yeah, no, that is that a solo game or is it?
It is 2 players, but the preferred and recommended way to play on BGG is solo. And that's kind of how I fell into it. Was like I follow a bunch of like, solo board gaming pages and they were loving it. And so I decided to pull the trigger and I ordered all of it because I can't help myself.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Are you a Star Trek man? Like, do you care about that intellectual property?
I have a kind of tangential knowledge of it, but I feel like it's one of those things where like I'm just gonna have to dive in one day. And
I want to get into it. You want to do like a watch party, me and you, and every week we'll talk about an episode.
So Vic actually pitched to me this week that we should do like a TV show rewatch podcast, like a series of like, hey, we watched these 3 episodes, we run through them with the plot points and anything that stood out and standout characters and all that stuff. So maybe we recommend some Star Trek.
I'm into it. I've watched some of the newer one. Like there's one out like right now, like Strange Worlds or something.
Yep.
It's really good. I just love the whole vibe of like, you just go to a new planet and it just could be whatever, they could be doing all types of things. The Orville is like one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane's like spoof, but not really a spoof because it gets deep. Have you seen the Orville?
Yeah, he started out as like kind of a slapstick, like, oh, it's kind of a spoof of Star Trek, and then it got emotionally
Yeah.
entangled for sure.
It's so good. I
Yeah.
love that show so much. So I definitely want to venture into the Star Trek world.
Yeah. And Star Trek's having a moment right now. Like Strange New Worlds and Below Deck are both wildly popular.
Yeah.
So this is the right time to re-implement Imperium and slap some much loved, some beloved IP onto that. Yes, that's how they. Yep.
Is that from Star Trek? That's Spock
Star
thing,
Trek.
right?
That's Mr. Spock. That's right.
Yeah. We know.
So,
we know our stuff.
That's right. We are so knowledgeable. You got anything else to debrief?
I played Flip 7 with a vengeance.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with this, Flip 7's been the wildly popular game that has just also taken the world by storm.
Yep.
That's everywhere. Everybody's playing it. It's kind of push your luck. Just try and collect 7 different cards. Try not to bust. But with vengeance adds like a ton more action cards, a lot of negative cards, right?
Okay.
But some good cards. So it adds ones that like there's a lucky 13. So in the normal deck has like 1 1, 2 2s, 3 3s, 4 4s, 12
Pyramid
12s.
deck.
Yes, a pyramid deck, as Paul Solomon would say, and probably other smart people. But this one goes up to 13 now. So there's 13 13s, but there's a lucky 13. And the lucky 13, you don't bust if you get another 13. So the whole thing is the fun part of the game for me is like, hey, the high numbers are good. They score a lot of points, but they make it more likely you're going to bust. So now having like another number, which is 13, where there's even more of those type of cards, like just having more cards in the deck, it felt like you were less likely to bust, but there was also a lot more negative things people could do to you. So like, even though you could score more points, it felt like when you did, you were eventually just going to get like dumped on. Like, everybody would get like a -4 card. Boom. That's for you. That's for you. That's for you. So in some ways it made it, it could be frustrating to some people, like you get ahead and then people just kind of bash the leader. But it was also nice that in regular Flip 7, it felt like if someone got too far away, it was just like, yeah, it's pretty much over. Like they can just stop after flipping 2 cards and just keep going. But if you do that in this game, like people have so many cards they can throw on you, like you still have to keep trying to score points till the bitter end. So I thought it had some cool stuff. I'd play it again. Didn't
feel like too mean.
Nah.
Right level of mean.
It's just Flip 7. I don't take it seriously. I was the one that was the benefactor of all the negative cards because I got up to like 150 out of the 200 you need to win really quick. Everybody else was like below 100. And so for like 5 rounds, I didn't score any points. Either I busted or people were throwing cards on me, and it was fine. It didn't bother me.
Yeah,
it might bother some people. Yeah.
Did you find this in like your friendly local game store?
My mom bought it.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. She brought it over. She's like, I think she saw it somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, we played it. It was a good time.
I feel like for as many copies as they printed of Flip 7, it's hard to find those like in the big box stores. Even like local game stores. Sometimes you'll find them here and there. Maybe it's like past its moment, but like I feel like Flip 7 is difficult to find unless you're ordering it off of Amazon or one of the large distributors online.
Yeah. So affordable. I'm talking about all small games, man. If all you have in your life is Flip 7, Stonk Market, and Cockroach Poker, you're a gamer and you're going to rock and roll. People are going to love it.
Capital G gamer.
You are killing it.
All right.
Our special guest is here.
That's right. Let's bring him to the stage, shall we?
Let's get him on.
Hello.
Peter.
All right. Peter C. Hayward. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very excited to be on here for the first time. First time I've ever been on the show.
Well, it's your first time with me, so that's fun.
That's true. So last week, I arrived on time and you'd been recording for half an hour. This week, I asked if we could move it back half an hour, and you've been recording for half an hour. So there's some shenanigery going on behind the scenes that I don't understand.
So last week we started like just a few and then you popped in and I was like, oh, like pause the show. Here we go. Like and so yeah, typically we start on time, but you never know. We're kind of a fly by the seat of the pants podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Clay, you have set up a very flattering background.
Oh yeah.
I see what you did there.
You see,
I know
what I
it's
did
not
there?
like this every episode.
It really is. This is all I play. First Class Leathers and Critter Kitchen. That's it.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
How's it going? How's things?
Good. Peter, I got to say, I know what you're up to coming a half hour late because I listened to your Blueprints for Life podcast on making a friend, and you were trying to create some scarcity here so that we can become friends. Am I right?
I have a call with my son every week. And last week, because I thought we were recording, I actually moved everyone else so I could be on time for the podcast. And this week, I was like, I can't ask him a second time to move. So this time I was just like, look, you got an extra episode out of me by my own fault. And so you have to adjust around my son.
So it's not you creating scarcity. So we'll be friends forever.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not that, but the on paper excuse.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll live in my own fantasy world.
Well, Peter, we're just wrapping our debrief of the games we played this week. Do you have any highlights that you played that you want to shout out?
Yeah, so I had a game night last night with my girlfriend, and we are 3/4 of the way through My Island. I don't know if you've played My City, My Island by Rana Knizia. Just masterpieces, and it's very fun playing games with my girlfriend because she's not a gamer. Like she learned about games through me, being like, yes, I make games. She's like, oh, like Monopoly, like everyone says.
Yeah.
And she's a production manager, so I started her on Heavy Euros pretty quickly, and it's exactly her jam. She's like, yes, I get to manage the production, and so it's very, very fun watching a non-gamer, a new gamer, I should say more accurately, because she now has as many games as I do, kind of discover stuff in real time. Because we got, we played through all of My City. We're 3/4 of the way through My Island, and we're packing up last night. She's like, I think I like this legacy thing. And I'm like, welcome to 2008.
Excellent.
So there are more legacy games in our future.
Peter, I got to know, because My City was one of my peak
it's so
gaming
good.
Experiences ever. Like my wife and I played through that, and it was just just the chapters, just the subtle changes.
Incredible.
It just like gently nod you through this campaign. It was beautiful, but I never played My Island because I felt like people were like, it's not as good as My City. Is it worth playing?
Going straight from My City to My Island, I think was a mistake, because you kind of end at peak My City and then you go back to the basics.
Okay.
And so My Island, the first maybe because it's 24 rounds or whatever, like 24 individual half-hour games made up of how many chapters? 8 chapters. Mm-hmm. And so the first chapter we were like, this is okay, but we wish we were playing My City. By chapter 3, we were like, this might be better. Like it's just phenomenally good. I mean, it's Knizia. Like it's hard for that man to go wrong. I will say we just hit like chapter 8, and chapter 8 chapter whatever we're up to, some one of the late chapters, chapter 7, and it's starting to bog a little bit. Like we opened the next one at the end of our 3-game session because we try to always play like one chapter each time we sit down and play. And we did open up and be like, this is a lot of rules. But next time when we were fresh, maybe we were like, these rules are all worth it. But genuinely, like the first 2 chapters are a little slow. We've hit a point of like, there's a lot going on here. Everything in between, golden. Like we are loving it. So yeah, don't play it straight after My City, but it sounds like you've had a bit of a break. It's a great
it's been
one
like
to
2 years. Yeah. So
no,
all right.
Absolutely
I'll get it. That's what I needed. That's what I needed to hear. I don't know why I've literally bought almost every other Knizia game I've ever seen anywhere, but for some reason, My Island, I was like, well, people say.
No, it's probably not as good overall, but the middle chapters I think exceed it, if that makes sense. Like this is the obvious comparison. Have you ever seen the Brendan Fraser 90s film Blast from the Past?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there is a solid half hour in the middle of that film, which is peak cinema, and everything before and after is just kind of like, why am I watching this? It's such a strange experience because you're like, oh yeah, they're trying a thing, and then for half an hour you're like, this is movie making. Like this is one of the best films of all time, and then it dips again. So My City, My Island might follow that obvious comparison. We were all thinking it. I just had to be the one to say it out loud.
Nice.
That's incredible. Man, we've touched on a lot of things that I have questions on. Are you ready to jump into our formal interview?
Yeah, I'll quickly say we also played Sky Team, which my girlfriend is yet to find a co-op that she likes. We played Vantage, and she was like, "This is brilliant. I don't care." And I was like, "Sky Team is such a different co-op that I was like, maybe." And at the end, she was like, "I'd play it again, but I'd rather be playing something else." And then we ended the night with Zolkin, and Zolkin is just like, it's a 15-year-old game now, and I'm like, genuinely, if it was published today, I think like 2 tweaks, and that's it. It's just incredible.
I've never played that one.
It hasn't. Oh, you've got if you like Euros, it's the king of Euros. It's just a slam dunk on every level. It's very, very, very slightly dated, but like if you can forgive, like it uses a kind of laborious upkeep system once, it's amazing. Really, really solid. Top 10 of all time for me, easily.
Wow.
All right, Travis, formally interview me, please.
It's going to be a grill session.
I say formal. Well, we have never done anything formal in our lives here at OG.
Put me on the hot seat. Just don't ask about the deaths. I'm not legally allowed to talk about them until the court case finishes.
Well, we've got that under control. Don't worry.
Where are the bodies?
That'll be the after I leave. You'll be like, and now we're going to dive into the 1992 travesty when Peter was 5 years old.
So you are a man of many hats, and I think in order to properly conduct this, we're going to start with the board games, and then maybe we'll stray into some of your other endeavors that you are dipping your toe into / passionate about, because we are also people of many passions, and we I think we can find some common ground with you on your creative side.
Last week when you were like, "What are you up to, Vic?" And Vic was like, "Well, I go to Universal every day. I run a podcast. I have this day job. And I'm like, how do you sleep?" Like,
yeah. He doesn't because I will I'll respond to his text at 6 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning here, and he is always awake. He's an hour behind me in California, in Los Angeles, and he will respond to me any hour of the day or
24
night.
hours a day.
So
Frickin'
Vic. Let's start with your design. You kind of mentioned very briefly last week that you like pulling systems apart and finding that like nugget in there. And you've said on other podcasts that you don't design around mechanics or themes. You design around that point of tension.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you know that point of tension, that you've hit it appropriately, and that is what's going to carry the game? Like,
that's a really good question.
That baffles me.
The short answer is you do a lot that don't work, and then you kind of latch onto the gems. So I probably come up with 10 designs a week, and that's not to say I make 10 games a week. Very, very different. I'll come up with an idea, and even just noodling it in my head for like 5 minutes, I'll be like, it's nothing. Do you ever read the culture novels by E.M.N. Banks?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've only read one of them. It's called The Player of Games, and it's really interesting because it's like this future utopian society. The culture novels, it's a whole universe of like or galaxy, whatever of stuff. And the idea is that sentient robots run the world and everyone's happy. And the question is, how do you make that interesting narratively? And they find ways. And so the only way I've read is The Player of Games. And the titular player of games, he plays games, I say for a living because it's like future utopia where you don't need a job. He plays games. That's what he does. And so this is in a world where no video games exist. So it's all board games. And there's a part that I always think about. He's on, I want to say a train. It might be some other mode of transportation. And he just, while he's sitting there, he's like, oh, this could be an interesting game. And he just pulls out a pen and paper, fiddles with it for 2 minutes. He's like, it works, like it's a functional game, but it doesn't do anything new. It doesn't add anything to the world of games. And again, reading this book as a board game designer in a futuristic society where it's all board games and no video games was such an interesting read. And so it's a little bit like that. Like I'll come up with an idea and play with it in my head for 5 minutes and be like, I mean, it would probably work, but what does it add to the world? Like who would want that over a similar game? And the answer most of the time is no one. And a lot of new designers I see, they don't stop at that point. They're like, oh, I came with an idea and it works, therefore it must exist. And it's just kind of like, well, I'll give you a really concrete example. I took this one quite far in development. The pitch is you've got 3 dice. Each dice has a different symbol on each side. So 18 different symbols total over 3 dice. You roll them, you get a word, and you have to get people to guess that word, but you're only allowed to draw those symbols. You have to draw each of them once. So if I get circle, stick figure, and asterisk, and I'm trying to get you to guess a cow, I have to very quickly draw a circle, a stick figure, an asterisk, and then you get a guess. Then it comes back to me, and I draw another circle. Like, so it's a real-time drawing guessing game, but the restriction is really weird. It completely functions. People have a good time, but does that game, is it more fun than Pictionary? Is it more fun than, caution signs or telestrations? And the answer is like, I wish it was, because then I would have a published game and get money, and people would be like, "Oh, Peter, you're so clever and handsome." But I just don't think it needs to exist.
Okay.
And so that game's on the shelf of abandonment. I do that process, but without making other people do it. I sit there and come up with stuff, and I play it in my head a little bit. I'm like, that's nothing. Until I find one where the tension is there. Did that answer the question at all?
Yeah, that's great.
Beautiful, Peter.
Well said.
Yeah, we've been lamenting about that lately. As playing games now pretty religiously for close to 10 years.
Yeah,
it does feel like there's a lot of games that come out. It's
just another one.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it's fine. That they found the formula. There's a formula that works, and you can put out a game and put a nice theme on it, and it's not offensive, but it doesn't really do anything for you, Yeah. So
I was on the phone with Joe from All Play, who's the publisher of Things and Rings and a lot of my other games. And I don't think he'll mind me saying this, but we were looking up a game. I won't mention it, obviously, but we were just like, yeah, that game existed. Like, it came out and it sold probably about 30,000 copies, which is a lot of copies. And then it faded away and no one will ever think about it again. And that's fine. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But as a publisher and as a designer, we are very trying to move towards, like, could we do more than that? Could we make a game that is someone's favorite game? And so this game that I'm talking about, like, you've probably seen it, heard it, played of it, and not thought about it in 5 years. And it's maybe there's someone who it's their favorite game, but realistically, it's just another game that came out. And so obviously, making a game at all is a accomplishment. But I am definitely at the point in my career where I'm trying to not make a game, but I'm trying to make a game that does something that really, like, there's nothing else like it, or it's addictively compelling, or it opens up a new genre, or it brings people into the, something that not another game does.
Speaking of addictively compelling, you got a real hot project with Bitewing, right?
Yeah, I've got a few
Rolling
happening
Deep.
with Bitewing at the moment.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Rolling Deep is the one that, when you say addictively compelling, immediately comes to mind.
Have you played it?
I have not played it, but I backed it. You better believe I backed it. And I'm not even a solo gamer, but I was like, holy cow, I like Bitewing. Balatro is taking the world by storm.
It's so good.
If this lives up to the hype, it could be amazing.
It's I don't want to sound immodest, but that's the kind of game I'm talking about, where, like, we've had multiple playtesters independently, unprovoked, be like, hey, this game will bring people who would never touch a solo game into solo gaming. And who knows, maybe it'll release and everyone will be like, man, the box was pretty, but that's all it is. But the response we've gotten from playtesters, reviews, and everyone who's played it, some people bounce off. I'm not trying to say it's a perfect game, but, like, people are responding very positively in a way that, like, Bitewing have fully supported. They are leaning into it. They paid huge amounts of money for this beautiful, beautiful art so that people could really experience the game. But the goal is that it's more than just another game. It's something different, something that brings people in, something that sticks around, something that becomes someone's favorite game. Nobody knows anything, but that's the hope. And that's what and again, there's no way of deliberately doing this. There's no formula. You can be like, I'll just crank out amazing games. But the first step is definitely, to Travis's original question, like, finding that tension and seeing how far it sustains.
And it's interesting because last week we talked and you said that you don't play video games.
No.
But it seems like, and Rolling Deep was the original, like, impetus to have you on, like, hey, come talk about your new game. It was just announced. And then we kind of got pushed and, whatever. Things got in the way.
Yeah.
But then you had a second game that was announced that's also based on a video game. The first, Rolling Deep is based on Balatro. It has... Yeah. I don't mean to say this in, like, a pejorative comparison, but
it's heavily inspired by Balatro. It's explicitly heavily inspired by Balatro.
But the artwork looks very much like Cuphead. And if you have a character,
that was the publisher.
If you have a character with a dice for a head, you're gonna draw that comparison a little bit. And then you have what is probably the most obtuse video game I've ever played.
It's so good. I'm replaying it for the first time since 2021 because of all the discussion. I'm like, I should actually work through this game again. And I'm just sitting here like, I solved this puzzle 5 years ago. I'm staring at it being like, maybe there is no solution. Maybe I've got a buggy copy of the game where they accidentally forgot to put the solution in, because like I know I've tried everything. I know I have.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
I don't think we've said the name of the game, but it's Baba Is You.
Yes.
Which you play as this weird little stick figure sheep, and you can manipulate the world to solve puzzles that are almost word puzzles that become physical space puzzles. It's incredible. And we talked a lot about ambitious board games last week. I cannot imagine the ambition that it required to undertake this game. Can you talk a little bit about your design process for this?
Yeah, for sure. So I just wrote up the design diaries. They'll be coming out on BGG soon. So go to Board Game Geek and search for Baba Is You. By the time this releases, there should be 1 or 2 out. But as mentioned last week, and as mentioned by you, I don't really play many video games. Like it sounds like a bit, because you're like, Peter, all you've done for the last month is release video game based games. But in 2021, I got really hooked on Baba Is You. I got very sick. I basically couldn't get out of bed for a month.
Okay.
And so my brain was fine. The spirit was willing, the flesh was weak. So I just needed something to distract me. So I watched a whole bunch of No More Jockeys, which is a YouTube show by Alex Horn, the creator of Taskmasters, and I played a lot of Baba Is You, and that really got me through the month. Like it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, I get it now, and people are like, hey, your thing got me through a hard time. I'm like, yeah, Baba Is You consumed my brain for a month, and I finished it. I think I finished it in a month, like treating it like a full-time job basically, and then I don't think I've played it since, but it obviously stuck in my head. And so 2021 was also when That Time You Killed Me came out, which is my 2-player combinatorial strategy game, like a time travel chess basically. And so these 2 things in combination, like I really wanted to do more in that space. The 2-player abstract just really fits in my brain nicely. And That Time You Killed Me is unique among abstracts in that it's a campaign game. It's not a legacy game, but it has like 4 chapters, and each chapter unlocks new things, and you really go on this like journey through time. And I was like, it's such a fun design space that no one else is doing, and I'm good at it. Like that game was my breakout game. Like it did very well, got well reviewed. It's what made Joe reach out to me from Allplay and be like, hey, let's work together. And that then created Things and Rings, which was my biggest hit so far. And so I was like, what if you could do Baba Is You as a 2-player abstract? That would be so cool. Like me versus you, we're changing rules and trying to win. And I did the thing that I was talking about where I played it in my head, couldn't get it to work. Just didn't work in my head at all. And I tried it a few times and I gave up on it. 3 years later, start of 2024, I was driving, and it's going to sound so obvious and stupid, as most good ideas do. In my head, when I'd been playing it, I was like, okay, so you've got like the rules off to the side, and on your turn, you can either take a turn on the board or you can adjust a rule. And it just didn't seem fun. It seemed really disconnected. The revelation I had, the breakthrough was, what if the words were on the board and you push them around? Which, if you know the video game, is literally the core concept of the game. And it worked pretty much immediately. Like from I mean, it's based on something truly brilliant. Like the abstract game, I think, is very good. The video game is transcendent. Like I'm not even going to claim to be in the same arena as that. But this idea that one of you is Baba, one of you is Kiki, who are the 2 characters from. Actually, vamp for 1 second. I'll grab the box.
Okay.
Yep. This is amazing. Look at
that. So if you're watching this, I don't know if you guys do audio or just video. One of you is Baba, and one of you is Kiki, and you are on a little 5x5 grid, and you're trying to manipulate elements to make something is win, and then move on to that something. And the things that really made it coming together was firstly getting rid of the is. In the video game, Baba is a block, is a block, and you is a block. Yep. And in a puzzle, follow puzzle game, that's obviously brilliant, works amazingly, creates the most intricate, fascinating little puzzles to solve. In a competitive game, it's just too easy to break up. Like you just need to adjust any part of that. So the first thing we did was we put the is on the verbs, on the properties. So Baba is a tile, and is you is another tile. And then the second thing, I've forgotten. Nope, it's gone. But the game came together really quickly, really nicely, and then I play tested it endlessly. And just like That Time You Killed Me, I was like, cool, you can't have 40 rules in the game like you do in the video game. That would be overwhelming. So every game you have 2 rules, and you just there's all these little worlds. Mine Mine are open because I was proofing them, but there's all these little world envelopes, and you open it and you get. Here we go. I can show you this because I haven't punched it. So you can see this, and this is this is world 1. And so until I can see, but you can't, what they actually are. So until you actually hit that level, you don't punch it. So there's no spoilers. So like that time you killed me, there's this kind of campaign-y element where it's always changing and always shifting. The loser of each game gets to choose which of the 2 rules disappears and a new one comes in.
Oh, cool.
And then once you finish the campaign, you can play with any combination of rules. You can shuffle them. You can make your own sets, whatever you like. But the idea is that you are... And Bitewing did this. It was really clever. They split up, like the game, they split up into all these different worlds. Each world has 5 levels. So the idea is you sort of like I was saying with My City, we would always sit down and play a chapter, which is 3 half-hour games, comes to about an hour and a half. It's a really fun game night session. This is a world with 5 levels. So you can play 1 level and you'll have a good time. But it's designed so you can sit down and play through 5 levels. And by the end of it, one of you will have won the world. And you get these little point tokens that carry over.
Oh, nice.
And so the game, it's this is all prototype stuff, so the colors aren't quite right, etc. But it's just this really beautiful little so one of you is Baba, one of you Kiki. You're moving around, you're trying to make something win and push yourself onto it before the other person can. But obviously it's not win for me, it's just win. So if I make it win and you jump onto it, you get to win. And without spoilers, if you play the video game, you'll know how cuckoo the keyword, the properties can get. That's absolutely true in the board game as well. You start to unlock some really there's an intro game, and they say if you haven't played before in the board game, always play the intro game. If you haven't played before, you can jump into any world except for world 6 and 7. Like, we really recommend those are for people who have played through at least 1 or 2 worlds, because that's where like it gets mind bendy right from the start. But that's where the really head crushing mind bendy stuff is.
Yeah. So Clay, like the video game, it's hard to explain, but on like in the physical space that you're walking around in, there's a sentence on the ground that says "Baba is you, flag is win." And so you push a rock and you push it onto the space that says Baba, and so it says rock is you, flag is win.
And now you are the rock. You
are the rock moving around.
What?
And then you get to star in Moana. You get to be a Scorpion King. It's amazing.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. I had never heard of this.
It's on every platform. If you've got Nintendo Switch, iOS, computer, like immediately buy it. Like if you like puzzle games, it will consume your month. It's incredibly designed. And actually, I was talking about it with Joe this morning. It gets more and more complex. So if you hit a point where you're like, this is too complex, just bounce. It's not going to get less complex. There's no like, I need to work through this complexity at the easy ones. It just gets more and more. I played it right through because this is exactly my jam. Like, I love it. So I designed that. I got the base system working. I made a bunch of keywords, got them working. And then I was like, well, this really has to be a Baba Is You game. Like, I can't, like I did with Balatro, with Rolling Deep, like Rolling Deep started as a Balatro homage, but it's obviously dice instead of cards. And it's, this instead of that. And so I was like, well, I reached out to local funk designer Balatro. I never heard back. I'm sure he gets 1,000 inquiries a day. And I was like, okay, well, at least I can like file off the numbers and release it as a Balatro inspired game. Baba Is You, I don't know how I would have done that. Like, it's really hard to be like, yeah, my game's called Kevin Is Me.
Oh my gosh.
It's about moving to, like, it was so heavily inspired that it wouldn't have felt right. So I reached out to him. And quite fairly, he was like, I can't look at your prototype, random person. Like I said, I'm an award-winning designer. I made this. Like, I'm not no one. He's like, cool. I don't like being on the receiving end of a lawsuit. So obviously, I can't look at this. And so I did something a little bit wacky, a little bit out there. But I respect this guy so much. Himpuli, Avi Takari, I can't remember how you pronounce his name, is the designer. He's like the solo dev. He did all the programming. He did it all himself. He's just this mad genius from Finland. And I reached out to him and I was like, look, firstly, I respect you. Secondly, if you don't want to do this, it's probably not going to exist. So I will sign a document saying, like, you own this. This game that I made is now legally yours, because I trust you not to like take it. And I mean, if you did, that would be very flattering. It would be financially devastating, but like, it's not like I spent 2 years on this. I worked on it hard and I was like, this is as good as I can get it. I don't want to go further without that.
Sure.
And so I said, look, I will sign whatever you like saying you own it. I just want you to look at it. Like, honestly, I don't I don't expect this to happen. And he played it. And actually, we have a mutual friend, I found out. Someone who is one of his local friends listens to my podcast. So he reached out to me and was like, hey, I just played your game. It was really cool. I was like, you what? Like this game that exists on my hard drive? And he actually had some rules questions, I think, as they were playing. So it was very funny. He must have jumped into the call with Avi and been like, oh, yeah, Peter's game. I know Peter. And so he came back and he's like, yeah, let's do it. And so I pitched around. Eventually, I settled on Bitewing because I really like working with them. I think they're great guys. And the game's coming to Kickstarter in about a month, September 15th.
Incredible.
I'll be there. I pretty much back anything Bitewing does. They've kind of cracked. They've cracked the code on like what works for me. So they're in the. I don't even have to verify. I just trust them. So.
They lean into high interaction, and one of my least favorite trends of modern gaming is low interaction. And so I have one or two designs that are like pretty solo-y puzzle. I mean, literally, I have a solo game, but I mean, like I have a few games that are, I guess, a multiplayer solitaire. But for the most part, I play games, if I wanted to play something with low interaction, I play a video game. Not Call of Duty. I mean, something like Bar Review. Sure. If I'm playing a board game with you, I want to be playing with you. I want to be like watching what you're doing, all this kind of stuff. So Sky Team's a really good example of that. It's a really high connection game. And Bitewing have leaned so hard into high interaction where I feel most of the market is leaning way away from it. So they've kind of carved out a really cool niche. Which made it weird when they started a solo line, but I wasn't going to complain.
Yeah, it worked out for timing wise. Yeah.
But yeah, if you look at my games, like I'm looking behind you, Things and Rings, very like,
oh yeah,
you can't replace the Noah with a computer. It doesn't work. It's about, okay, what does Clay think this object would go into? It's very personal. Critter Kitchen is like blind bidding. It's all about like, how much do you want that carrot? First Class Letter is a good example of something that is relatively low interaction for my catalog. But there's still this thing of like, depending on the group you're playing with, you can have 5 minutes to make a word or you can have 20 seconds. I know one guy who, as soon as you roll the dice, he writes down a word, flips the timer. Because he's like, the thing I come up with in 0 seconds will probably be about as good as the thing you come up with in 30 seconds. So even though it is obviously low interaction, it's still got that interactive element that I love in games.
Yeah.
I was trying to butter you up because my debrief was Triangulation today, and I just got that played. I showed up with Grunts and the couple other all play releases. Oh, and Container, and wanted to make sure that I got Triangulation played.
Oh, how'd you find it? It's okay to hate it.
It was cool. It was cool. It's been very divisive so far, so I wouldn't have been surprised if you were like, yeah, you did a thing. We talk a lot about like what makes a great party game and like a game to play with new people or families or people that don't play games. And it always comes down to like that conversation that happens after the game is over. And like, why did you think that this would lead to that?
You said it 4 times. Why wasn't that your guess?
Yeah. So I think this nails that. That's for sure. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's cool.
I have a lot of games and I like a lot of them, but Triangulation and French Toast are probably my two favorite. They're just so rule free. I love a low rule game.
That's great. I hate rules. I've gotten so I feel like every new gamer kind of goes through the phase where you think that what makes you a gamer is being able to play games with lots of rules and that just go on forever. And so I went through that phase and I was just like, I'm just not even having that much fun playing this game, and I've really gone off the other end now.
The Good Doctor is just the king of that. Like, Medici is one of those ones where I learned the rules and I was like, that's it. And I played it. I was like, how does it have an arc? Like, how does it feel so different from round 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 with no rules changes, with no extra elements, with no even like, it's just incredible the way that man does it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, hey, here's a tough question for you. You might have just answered it. You said you love French Toast and Triangulation, but I find I'm not a creative like you. You're like uber creative, but in the few creative things that I do, this podcast being one of them, I enjoy the episodes I'm not on way more than the ones I'm on. And when I cook food, I'm never satisfied with it. So I'm wondering for you, do you actually enjoy playing the games you make, or is it always like it didn't turn out the way exactly. Like you had to stop before you really wanted to be done with it. Like, do you actually go to your games and like, man, I like playing that game? Because I feel like I never could.
Two separate questions.
Yeah.
So do I feel like they didn't quite do what I want? Very rarely. One of the reasons, if you look through my ludography, you'll see I work with the same publishers again and again and again. Like I tend to have a good relationship with publishers because they know, A, I trust them to execute, and B, they know that I'm a workhorse. Like I will not rest until a game is done. And so I've got some games in my history that I'm like, that could have been better. But like since that time you killed me, like almost everything I've released, and I say almost because I'm sure there's some exception I'm thinking of, has been like, if I wasn't happy with something, I keep going. Again, I had like a 3-hour call with Joe, so he's going to get reference slot today. We were talking about one of the projects, and he's like, don't, like that part doesn't matter much. I'm like, Joe, every part matters. Like, I understand what you're saying, and like there does hit a point where you have to stop working on it, but I'm like, I need to be at least like very happy with it, even if not all the way happy. I need to be very happy with every part of a game. So that specific thing, no. The other part of the question is do I enjoy my own games? And that is, I have about an 18-month rolling window. And once a game is more than 18 months, it tends to like just not be something I would design. My tastes change and my skills improve. And so I look back and I'm like, yeah, I see what I was doing there. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad people enjoyed it. But man, I would not make that game the same way today. And so again, if you go through my catalog, you'll see a lot of sequels and like re-implementations. That's because I'm like, well, here's what I would change. Have you ever played or heard of my game Village Pillage?
I did see it on your catalog when I
read it. I read about it today, actually.
Yeah.
All right. So it's it won the 2021 Mensa Select. It was my first game that anyone cared about at all. I'm really proud of it. I think it's one that actually, like, for the most part, I like. And we've done 4 or 5 expansions, and then just recently came out the big box, which is every expansion. And that's when I was like, okay, let's go back to the original and just make those little tweaks that, like, so in that game, it's a simultaneous play game like Critter Kitchen. And anytime you have a simultaneous gameplay, you need tie breaks. It happens all the time. And the Village Pillage tie break was like the number of turnips that you have, you're collecting turnips. And if it's still a tie, flip a coin. And we made the coin a chicken, so it's very funny. You get to flip a chicken. Like, we got away with it, but it's not a great solution. Like, it's just literally flip a coin. And that, nowadays, this is kind of full 10 years later. Now I'm like, Peter, you didn't finish designing the game. You designed most of the game and you went, it's hard. I don't know, flip a coin. Like, ask your mom. I don't care. And now I'm like, no, like, you don't just stop and go like, let the gods decide. You have to finish designing the game. Yeah. And so in the big box version, we call it the very big hat. We made a wooden meeple that's this big. That's just a hat, just a big purple hat. And at the start of the game, someone arbitrarily gets it, and then tie breaks from them to the left. But if you have a steal from that player, you also steal the hat. So now it's an active part of the. It's like there's still the randomness of who starts with it, and the game's chaotic enough that it's going to feel kind of random. But it's not just like flip a coin. Like, who cares? Just stop asking me questions. Go away. And so, like, a lot of my games are re-implementations of old ideas to, like, just fix the stuff where now, years on, I'm like, well, that's not done yet. You didn't finish the game, Peter.
No, that's awesome. Thanks for that. I always wonder those things because I, to the smallest extent possible, I've tinkered around with some game prototypes, and I'm like, I don't ever see how I would ever be happy. I don't think I could ever get there with myself.
I will say the stuff I was saying earlier about, like, don't make games that are just another game. That's when you're late in your career. When you're starting, if you go with that mentality, you will never make anything. So don't feel like your first design has to, like, rock the world and bring your grandma into heavy games, because that's not realistic, not going to happen. At the start, just make stuff. Just make as much stuff as you can, and, like, through that you will build skills and develop, and then once you're established, that's when you can start to kind of raise the bar. But at the start, like, just another game is fine. The game that Joe and I were talking about was by 2 very established designers, and we were like, what are you doing?
You're better than this.
Yeah, exactly. I gave that feedback to I can't remember who. Someone, I was playing with their game, and they were like, what do you think? And I was like, you're better than this. Like, it's a game. It works. Like, if you're a new designer, I'd be like, wow, well done, you made it. But, like, you're better than this. And he was like, yeah, I know.
So hard.
It's interesting. We keep drawing these parallels between, like, the video game stuff and the board game stuff. And I've been listening to a lot about the board game or the video game industry right now, and these large corporations, these big mega quadruple A, triple A video game companies that put out gold for years and years and years now are falling back and cutting back everything that's not like exactly what they've been doing in the past. And you find this weird trend where like they're trying to play it so safe. Like, do we end up in a place where money is so tight for people in the board game sphere that board game publishers play it safe?
I think some publishers definitely lean into that. Again, I don't want to name names. That feels unprofessional, but I can think of one big publisher who you're like, have you done anything that wasn't a spin-off of your big game for like 5 years? Like, is that all you do now? Are you just this one company? I'm very into movies. And so for me, Pixar is my favorite company. I have a whole YouTube channel just about Pixar videos, just about Pixar films. And I just feel like it's the last time a Pixar film impressed me at all was like 2020. And the last time I truly loved a Pixar film was 2015. And if you look at their slate, like they just did Toy Story 5, and they're probably going to do Monsters University 3. And it's just like Monsters Inc. 3. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It's just like, okay, cool. Yeah. As the budget goes up, the capacity for risk goes down. Did you ever read Creativity Inc.?
Yes.
So it's the behind the scenes of Pixar. Basically, it's written by one of the founders, Ed Catmull. It's incredible. It's a really, really incredible read. And they talk about like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever, like when they were very established, they stopped the company for a week to have this big meeting about, they measure it in like man-hour weeks or something like that. Like every film takes 20,000, whatever this unit is. And that's just literally how many hours of people's life, how many weeks of people's lives it takes to make a film. And they're like, we're currently at 40,000. How could we get this down to 30,000? And rather than just have it be the head honchos have this meeting, they said like, everyone stop. We're going to get everyone together on campus for a conference to talk about this. And the thing that I was thinking about from that story is that one group were like, what would it take to do a 10,000 movie? Like, because you can do it, obviously. Yeah. Like, you can make a video game with one guy in Finland and it can be an absolute masterpiece. You don't need a whole thing. And I'm not saying that every film studio should just make little tiny low budget films, but like there is a beauty in that exploration. Experimentation is what I'm looking for. When the budget is not your entire, if this flops, the company goes under, you have room to play. And I think play is obviously very relevant in my field, but I think it's such an important part of any creative field is just try a thing. Like when people judge someone for having a flop or something that didn't work, I'm like ambition is its own value, did you see Babylon by David and Chazelle? Like, I don't think that film worked, but I was there for 3 hours riveted being like, you're doing a thing. Like, it didn't quite work. It was a little bit too much, but had it worked, it would have been an all-time great, and I admired the effort. And that's why this game that I've mentioned a few times, like, it was clear that I think they actually put up a design diary saying like, we put it together in a weekend. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and great. You made another game in a weekend. That is its own feat. That is its own skill. But just what if you'd spent a second weekend on it? What if you'd put a little bit more effort in and actually made it good and memorable? Because you have the capacity for that. You have the skill. I'm not saying I'm even as good as these designers, but like I am trying to like not just make every idea that I have, which I've done for years, and some of them take off, a lot of them don't, which is fine, and just be like, okay, but is this worth not just my time, but like the world's time? Is this worth the printing and the shipping and the Kickstarter and the customer's money and the customer's attention? Is it worth it? And most ideas, the answer is no. And you can obviously fall into the trap of saying everything is no, but then you'll hit the one where you're like, I want this to exist so bad. I think this is worth it. Yeah.
Especially when money is tighter than ever and people are going to still charge premium prices on Kickstarter. And like, you have to take those swings and do something different to get people to invest in the thing that you spent your time on. Right. Like, it's kind of a shame.
And in such a saturated market too. Like the only way to stand out is to be different and special. And
both video games and board games, like thousands come out every year and people cannot play all of them. So they have to pick and choose. Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's so many of them are like, we played it was fun. And then you never think about it again. And like having a game stick around for more than a week is its own challenge these days. Go ahead, Clay.
Yeah. No. Speaking of ambition, I don't want to I don't want to make this all about board games, right? Because to us, you were Peter C. Hayward, the board game designer. But it wasn't until I knew you were coming on this podcast that I found out you have ambitions beyond board game design. Like, this is just one little piece of what you aspire to do, if that. Like, tell us more about the other things in your life, like writing and screenwriting.
Well, so I already mentioned that I have a YouTube channel. The season 4 of Ted Lasso is airing right now, and I've had a Ted Lasso video on my hard drive since the 3rd season was airing. So nice. I'm really trying to get that out in time, but like for this to be contemporary for this season. It's kind of lit a fire under me in a good way.
Yeah.
But my main passion, my big life goal has always to be a screenwriter. Since I learned that was a thing, when I was young, I would be an actor, and then I was like, oh, people write this stuff? Oh, I want to do that. And so I've always wanted to be a screenwriter. So I spent probably close to a decade just trying to make inroads into TV in Australia. And I sat down with some of my friends who were like working screenwriters, and I was like, how do I do this? And they're like, you don't. Like, honestly, like, you're coming to us as experts. We're making $30,000 a year, and like working as a staff writer on a TV show. We have no chance of getting our own stuff on, and 10 years later, they don't. And like, there's a company called Working Dog Productions, who are like one of the big Australian film companies. They made The Castle and The Dish and Russell Coates' All Aussie Adventures. And just like, if it's in Australian pop culture to Australians, they've not like expanded past Australia, but most Australians have heard of one or all of those shows, and probably the company as well. And I found out they can't get stuff made. Like, Australia is just so bereft of like cultural funding that, because we have the population of Australia is about the same as the population of New York City. Like, we are a tiny speck of people on a huge island. So we just don't have the market. Like, when America makes a TV show, 350, 380, 400 million potential audience members in this country, and then it gets exported. Australia, we have 28 million, and Australian humor does not export very well. Like, I'd be shocked if you guys had watched more than like one Australian TV show in your life. And so it's very hard to break into. It's and my tastes tend more American.
Yeah.
So after 10 years of like trying, and finally I sat down and was like, look, I need to do this. My friends were like, well, get out of this country and go to a country where they have an industry, which is England and America. And so I wanted to get into the US. And spoiler alert, I'm here. This is the US. I'm in Los Angeles right now.
You made it.
In Las Vegas. Yeah, I did it. I don't have a college degree. I wasn't marrying an American. And so I needed to find a way in. So I found a visa. It's the O3, I think. It's got a very cool name. The Alien of Extraordinary Ability. And it's like a board.
Amazing.
There are 9 criteria, and if you achieve 5 of them, you can get in. It's like as simple as that. It's an application. And so for I think 8 straight years, every decision I made as an individual was with these 9 kind of victory points in mind. Everything I did, I would wake up and be like, what am I doing today? And I'd almost like, I should have printed and put it on the wall. Like, everything I did was targeted towards it. And I wasn't going to make it in screenwriting, because screenwriting is even harder to crack. And I just started playing board games and fiddling with ideas, and found out that I had a knack for it. Like, there's just something about my brain in board games that works. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start a company for the explicit purpose of getting into the country and working towards these goals. So the Rube Goldberg machine in my life is that I wanted to live in Los Angeles to be a screenwriter. And so I started a career in board games and started a company. And so after, I think, 4 years, I'd fulfilled the criteria, not for the Alien of Extraordinary Ability, but for a business visa, basically. My company was paying $250,000 to Americans, which is, in the US government's perspective, making 2 jobs. So like, I was contributing 1 net job by being here. Mm-hmm. So I was able to move here on a temporary visa. It was temporary renewable. So it was pretty easy to just renew. And then 2 years ago, 2024, maybe at the end of 2023, I think end of 2023, I finally got the Alien of Extraordinary Ability, and I did it. And I am now a permanent resident. And in 2 years' time, I will be a citizen. All of this to finally start screenwriting. And as I said, screenwriting is more competitive than almost any field. There's a famous quote: there are more players in the NBA than there are working screenwriters. It is harder to be a working screenwriter than it is to get into the NBA. And I don't know the exact numbers, but it is competitive. So after all of that, 10 years after I started trying to get here, I'm finally here, and I'm finally focusing on screenwriting.
Wow, that's so crazy. You're an amazing board game designer by accident.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, totally. I'm not going to be modest. I have a knack for it. It fits my brain. But the goal was not to be a board game designer. It was to get into the country.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the update of Life where you have to check 5 of the 9 criteria for Alien of Extraordinary Abilities. That's crazy. That's a board game in itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about ambitious.
It's very gameable. It was very fun. Not fun. It was awful. After I achieved it, I was on the call with my lawyer and she was like, "You did it." I was like, "Great. What are the next steps?" She's like, No, you've done it." I'm like, "Okay, cool. So what do I do next?" She's like, "No, Peter, it's done." And I was expecting like an interview and another round of this. And she's like, No, you've done it. You've achieved the thing. And for 2 months, I didn't know what to do with myself because I'd been so wholly focused on this one thing that when you achieve it, there's a term for it with people who get married. Like when you're particularly brides, your whole life for a year is building up to this wedding, and it happens, and you're just like, well, I've got no purpose now. Like, what am I meant to do? Enjoy my happy marriage? What am I meant to do? Just live in America? I couldn't. So I focused on getting out of debt, which I just did last week. Hooray!
Awesome!
Dang!
Wow!
Hey,
you are winning.
A very good couple of
that
years.
is winning. Not all of us Americans are out of debt.
Yeah, for real.
It was again. I'm very grateful to the board game industry for getting me into the country and getting me into debt and then out of debt again. And so I'm still working board games, obviously, but I'm really dialing down on it, and I have enough releases over the next few years that I'm trying to basically treat screenwriting like a 3-day-a-week job. Like I'm really trying to be like, I am a screenwriting and YouTube and like all my other things that I do that aren't board games. So board games have gone from like 7 days a week to 2 days a week. So you won't notice for about 5 years just because of the amount of backlog I have of games coming out. Like you said, you had me on for Rolling Deep, and then shortly after that, Barbara's You was announced. Like there's going to be a lot of that over the next 3 years, but then after that, it will eventually slow down.
Okay. Wow. And then we can just start looking for your name at the end credits of TV shows and movies.
That would be nice. It'll probably be about 10 years before that happens. But
so we've caught you at peak Peter board game designer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's God. But and again, the new kind of philosophy of like, cool, let's focus on the games that matter mean that in terms of games you've heard of, it might actually stay the same.
Yeah.
But there's a pretty good chance that I'll go from like I signed 12 games last year or something like that. Like I don't expect that to even close to sustain. It'll go down to single digits for sure, but ideally with those games being better. Not that my existing games are bad by any means, but like they're some of them are another game, and that's okay. That's fine. I want to move past that in my career.
Yeah,
I'm really trashing my next like 3 years of releases, aren't I?
Hey, I'll still be excited about them.
Yeah, we'll be there for them for sure.
I won't tell you which ones are which. There we go.
Awesome. Clay, you got any other questions for Peter?
No, well, I do have a comment, really. I don't know if this is your intention. This is just while I have you, the designer of a game that I've played a lot. So Things and Rings is like, it is my stepmom's favorite game.
Oh, that's
when
lovely.
I introduced it to her, she bought it for herself and she takes it everywhere and plays it.
Oh, that's cool. That's the goal. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's that's the goal. That's the it's expanded past like gamers.
No, she loves it.
Not to make any assumptions about your aunt.
Yeah, she's not what you would call a gamer, but I've played that game so many times, and I don't know that I've won a few times. Like I've got all my cards out first, but I almost never know what the circles are. I just go off of like where a lot of the cards are landing. Was that part of your design philosophy to give people that outlet for, figuring out?
Have you played Zendo?
No.
Okay, so Zendo was actually the Mensa Select winner of, I think, 2001 by Corey Heath, who unfortunately passed on a few years back. But he's the designer of Zendo and The Gang. So if you played The Gang, that was his final published game. Yeah. Magnificent designer. Very, very tragic that he died. And so Zendo is explicitly the inspiration for Things Rings. You'll start to realize a lot of my games are directly inspired by something. My collaborations are often inspired by my collaborator came up with an idea, and so we made that. But like, I'm less the ideas man and more the execution guy. So Zendo is brilliant and very difficult to play, introduce people to, have a good time with. It's there's 3 types of shapes. There's like cylinders and rectangles and pyramids or triangular prisms or something. There's 3 different types of shapes. They come in 3 different colors and 3 different sizes. So you have actually, I think sorry, ignore the sizes. They come in. There's 3 different shapes and 3 different colors. The Noah equivalent, they're called the Zen Master. They have a secret rule that only they know. So it could be the shape has to have something purple touching a triangle. And so they will make one sculpture that follows the rule, one sculpture that doesn't follow the rule. And everyone else will then take turns making a sculpture and learning if it follows the rule, it doesn't. And you win that game by naming the rule, by saying explicitly what the rule is. So if you say the rule is something blue touches a triangle, you win the game. There's like 4 more rules beyond that, but that's essentially it. And it's amazing. And the trouble with it is that in order to play, you need to understand what the rules can and can't be. So there are 2 rule books. There's the rule book, and then there's the rule book for the rules. And the rules are stuff like it can't have to do with position in the room. It can't have to do with who built it. It can't have to do with this. It can't have to do with that. Like there's just a glossary of terms that you can use, terms that you can't use. And people sometimes say I'm overstating this, and I probably am. But like the fact still remains, in order to play the game, you need to understand what the rules can be. And so my Things and Rings comes explicitly from me trying to solve the Zendo problem, where I don't want you to, I want to have a rule game where you don't have to name the rule, but just like knowing vaguely the rule will get you there. So what you're describing is kind of explicitly the point. Like,
okay, good.
It's like vibes Zendo. It was originally pitched as Vendo because it's like a Venn diagram. Zendo. Yeah. And I think at one point we were discussing names, Vibes was kind of considered even because it is like sometimes the word rule you will generally get explicitly, but the other 2 will be like, oh, it's something like this. So for example, one of the rules, spoiler for Things and Rings, is bigger than a person or heavier than a chair. And if you had to name that rule, it would be insufferable. You'd be like, is it bigger than, is it heavier than a table? And it's like, no. And now you're playing hot and cold. Like you're playing French Toast, which is another one of my games from the same publisher. Whereas, a dinosaur is, an ant isn't. You don't have to know what it specifically is. You just have to be able to be like, oh, okay. And then it also allows for one of my favorite things in games. This is part of why I like Barbara's You so much, is discoverability. Barbara's You, like I said, I'm playing through it again, and you'll get a rule, you'll get a second rule, but the way they combine, you're like, the moment you work that out, you're like, whoa, my head is exploding. Yeah. And so sometimes people play Things and Rings by firstly reading all the rules out loud, and then it's just like, which of these rules it is. Yeah. That's anathema to me. Like, it's your game, do whatever you like with it. I would never play that way because I want to have that moment where I'm playing being like, oh, I never even thought that it could have to do with this thing or that thing or this metric or that vector. And so, the thing you're describing is sort of the goal of the design. Yeah, okay.
Because I always feel dumb because I can't say what the rule is at the end. I couldn't tell you, but I'm like, a lot of cards are ending up in this section of the Venn diagram. So that's where I'm dumping them. Like,
it's not meant to just be majority. You should like have a vague idea.
I have a vague idea, but it's usually pretty vague. I
played it when my copy arrived. Alex, my Critter Kitchen co-designer, happened to be here, so we sat down and played it. It's not amazing at 2. And he was like, how are we going to play this? You know all the rules. And I was like, actually, I don't know the advanced rules as well. So again, spoilers for Things and Rings. The rule was, it's a red context rule, which are the hardest. And it was like associated with fables and folklore, which is so vague. And so, like, that's why it's the hardest rule. Yeah. And I was sitting there being like, it's kind of magic-ish. And magic-ish is not exactly the same, but it's in the same vibes. So that's the aim. I got to experience that as a player exactly once, which was very fun for me.
That's cool.
The sequel, which Alex and I co-designed, is coming out soon. Things on Strings. Yeah. And in that one, the Noah makes up the rules as you go because you're making a flow chart this time, and so we couldn't have prescripted rules because you'd be like, oh, well, everything always goes here. Yeah. And so I get to have that experience of the player now of like, what is this? And then that moment of like, oh, of course it's this, or like vibes, or I played with Joe recently, Joe, the fourth member of this podcast, and his rule was like frequently found in restaurants, so all the food was going there but also candles, and we were like, is it that you can just eat it? Like, you shouldn't, but you can. And so it was such a fun experience to like get to play it as a real person for once.
That's great. It's such a good game. It's so fun. Like, you see people thinking they know, and then the knower puts a word somewhere and they're like, oh no, that completely like shattered
we
my
had this one. How is that not there?
Yeah, I know. It always is such a good time. So I just want to give Things and Rings a shout out for being the party game of choice for my family as of the past year. So thank you for that.
Awesome.
I'm very glad you're enjoying it. Say hi to your aunt from me.
Will do.
All right. Are we ready to go over the fence and talk about what we've been doing outside of board gaming?
Let's do it.
Peter, why don't you kick us off? What have you been doing outside of board gaming and writing?
I've been screenwriting. Very proud of myself. I'm 1/3 of the way through a screenplay. My first ever proper screen. I've written a lot of TV stuff, like dozens of TV scripts. It was my first time trying a movie, and I'm having such a ball, having a great time with it. So screenwriting is my headline.
Okay.
And I'll use this as an opportunity to plug my podcast that I think Clay mentioned earlier. It's called Blueprints for Life. It's brand new. It's by Nicole Cutler and I. Nicole is Alex is Nicole's wife. I don't like saying Nicole is Alex's wife. Alex is Nicole's wife because I met her first and we were best friends. And so the show is we record every week and we release every 2 weeks so we can start to build a backlog. And it's basically about how to make your brain work for you. So it's there in the title. It's like Blueprints for Life. Nicole and I use all these different systems to make sense of the world, and like it's a little bit, we're on the spectrum. It's a little bit just how my brain works. That's why I'm good with board games. I guess on the spectrum is how my brain works. But the idea is that we found a lot of these models are really helpful for other people. So we've started sharing them on this podcast, and people are reacting really well to it. So I just want to get the word out. If you want to learn to navigate your life better through systems from a blue-bearded individual and his very short friend, then please check it out. Blueprints.fm.
Awesome. I thought she was a giraffe person.
She's a very, very short giraffe person.
I've learned a lot about Blueprints for Life. I've listened to a couple episodes now.
Oh, you enjoy it?
It is really good. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Very good.
Do you want to explain giraffe person? I'd be curious to get your
giraffe person. They're your go-to people. They're people that you can just say, I need this thing done, and they take all the mental and execution work out of it. You just know they're going to handle it, and they're giraffe people.
Yeah.
Is that the thrust of it?
That's perfect. Yeah. The edit of the podcast is we try to make really actionable advice. So it's not only like what is it, but how to find a giraffe person, how to be a better giraffe person, how to filter for giraffe people. I'm very proud of the show. So I'm just trying to get the word out.
No, it's good.
We're going to link that show in our show notes so that people can find Blueprints for Life. Check it out.
It's, we finally got the YouTube search running. So if you search Blueprints for Life on YouTube, it will actually turn up now, as it didn't before.
Perfect.
What's your over the fence for this week?
All right, Clay, what you got?
Yeah, so I'm late to the party. I heard you guys already go down this rabbit hole last week, but I too watched The Odyssey and Spider-Man in the past week. And for what it's worth, I enjoyed them both. Man, The Odyssey just. I was so like at the beginning, I was like, there's no way, like how are they going to get all these story beats in here and like get to a conclusion? Because it felt like there was so much ground to tread, but somehow they did, and it wrapped up, and I thought it was an awesome experience. So I liked it. I'm not going to be the, Greek critic or, film critic. I just sat there, enjoyed the experience. I watched it with my dad because I heard Travis talk about the father-son dynamic there. So it was just me and my dad on a date watching the Odyssey, watching Odysseus try and get home. So it was awesome. And Spider-Man Brand New Day was just a fun time too. My first time taking my kids, they're 9 and 7, to see a Marvel movie in the theaters. So they were hype. The whole family was hype. It was awesome. Tom Holland's he's my favorite Spider-Man. I mean, he's knocking it out of the park. So that's my over the fence.
All right, Peter, who's your favorite Spider-Man?
I mean, my favorite Spider-Man films are the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
The 2 and the 3rd one coming up. I think they're probably my favorite animated film, my favorite Spider-Man film, my favorite comic adaptation. Like, I just think that they are pretty close to perfect. I do these Easter egg videos, and so when the 3rd one comes up, again, I'm going to use it as an excuse to really hustle, and I want to do every difference between the universes in the first one, because I think there's some really subtle background jokes. My YouTube channel, Peter C. Hayward, is just all about like hidden stuff in films. Like, I just love all that kind of thing. And the 10 ones are about story structure. And so the one I want to do for Spider-Verse 1 is every difference between the films, because there's a lot of like really subtle stuff, even like NYPD to PDNY and stuff like that. And then the second one, I want to go frame by frame and find every Spider-Man featured and talk about like where they're from, what else they've been in, if they're made up for the film, like all of it. I think that would be so fun.
Awesome. That I love those movies as well. I get chills like just thinking about his like the leap of faith scene. Yeah, that gets me so worked up every time. I like get teary and oh man, incredibly done. The animation is perfect. I could not have asked for a better Spider-Man adaptation. But also, Clay, to answer,
I chose the non-white Spider-Man, so I'm just saying if you choose a white Spider-Man, it's really going to tell you something. Go ahead, what were you going to say?
Man, listen, you're so. That's progressive. I feel bad now.
You feel shamed. Good.
I do feel shame. Screw you, Tom Holland.
Oh, you like the white blonde one? Oh, okay. Travis,
God,
who do you like?
I am the worst.
Yeah. Well, I was talking like just live action adaptations, but the correct answer is Toby.
Yeah, they're all very good in their own different ways.
Yeah. And they've like kind of tweaked them like just ever so slightly as they go through their trilogies, and now Tom has a fourth one. But
like Andrew Garfield's films are probably the worst, but he as a Spider-Man is one of the best. So it's really hard to like judge them against each other.
Yeah. He did not have much to work with. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's quippy and fun.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really do much this week. I have really nothing to report, but. Peter, you're talking about all these mental models. Are you familiar with Farnham Street?
Farnham Street? No.
Farnham Street.
Is this your segue into the sponsor of the show?
No,
we're not sponsored.
Come on. Yeah, Farnham Street. They have like kind of an online blog, and they have books that are called Great Mental Models, and they have them for like math and science and stuff like that. But the very first edition of this book is all about how we make decisions and how we like formulate things in our minds. And I think you would get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I'm immediately checking it out.
Really interesting.
Clear thinking, turning ordinary moments into extraordinary results.
Yeah,
it's on my Kindle list.
All right, perfect. It's the publications. If you get the actual physical book, it's really nice. It's like a nice soft like cloth covering. It's like cloth bound. So
I'm a Kindle boy. I read everything on my phone.
That's
100%. Okay. Actually, speaking of which, I'm reading Warbreaker from Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series.
Excellent.
I read all of Stormlight last year, like in way too short a time. In 2 months, I read all 5 Stormlight books, which is too much reading for any human.
Yeah,
I read about 200 books last year, or maybe the year before. And after reading those, I burned out and had to like. I stopped reading for literally a year, and I'm just now getting back into it because I got my sister Willow. If you've read my Rolling Deep Diaries, you'll know about. I got her hopelessly addicted to Cosmere, so she's reading through in the right order. I read all of Stormlight, which is not the way to read it. Read more in the release order, and so she's now ahead of me in release order, but behind me on Stormlight. So I'm not trying to catch up with her, but I'm like I want to read her thoughts and have them make sense to me, and so I'm very, very, very excited to keep reading these Cosmere books. Before that, I read The Emperor's Soul, which is one of the shorter ones. It's novella. Possibly my favorite Norm Storlight Brandon Sanderson book. It's just really, it'll make you rethink thought. Like it's just Willow described it as beautiful, which I think is a good way to put it. It's a really beautiful book. So if you want like a quick non-committal taste of the Cosmere, which is his like overarching series, check out The Emperor's Soul. It stands alone amazingly. It has basically no connection to any other Cosmere book, and it's truly wonderful. I cannot recommend it enough.
That's incredible.
I cannot believe you read all those books. I went last year. I read The Way of Kings and got halfway through the second one, and I burned out. I liked it. It's a lot. Yeah.
I do not recommend reading all 5 of them in a month. You will. Yeah. I literally went from reading 200 books a year to basically 0. Like it really truly burned me out on reading for a full year. So don't do that.
Lot of books.
Yeah, I read a lot.
Well, since we're talking about,
and I read too much Stormlight.
Yeah,
you do a lot.
Yeah, for real. I don't know how you have the hours in the day. You must be like Vic. Got to get whatever you guys are on. And just since we're talking about books, I am reading Spring Snow by Yukio Mishima. I mentioned this a couple of weeks when we were talking with Paul Solomon, And speaking of beautifully written books, it is incredibly beautifully written. It's kind of like a romance, which I did not expect, but it is a modern Japanese classic translated directly from Japanese to English. And just the prose that this guy writes with is really striking. Like he will just
it's from 1969.
Yeah, it's so he wrote a tetralogy called the Spring of Fertility or something. I can't remember.
Fertility.
The Sea of Fertility. Yeah. But the first entry is called Spring Snow. And it's about a coming of age story of some kind of higher up in social class Japanese men and how they kind of navigate the proprieties of society and what is expected of them as men and as these upper class members and kind of their base urges as blossoming young men. And it's really interesting. Not typically anything that I would read.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like go pick this off a bookshelf typically, but I'm kind of pushing myself this year, and this is something a little different, and I'm kind of enjoying it.
So far, every book that I know you've read has either been that one nonfiction book or a translation.
Yeah. Yep. I'm also kind of pushing myself to read more this year. So I always have at least one audiobook and at least one hard copy book. I just finished Fever in the Heartland, which is like a super quick read, but it was fascinating about the early 20s and kind of like the KKK's emergence in middle America, and how one woman kind of stopped them from taking over the whole country, which is just bonkers. And then, Sea of Fertility, which is kind of grabbing me a little bit. I'm not going to go straight into the second and third and fourth one, but I'm going to give this one some time to breathe, and maybe I'll revisit the later ones.
I'll give you a little blueprints for lifestyle tip if you're listening and want to read more.
All right.
I like a lot of people, I read through childhood and then stopped as an adult. The way I got back into it was I had a daily to-do item. Every day I would sit down and read for half an hour. And at the start of that year, it was like I was flipping to Facebook every 2 seconds. Like, attention span, especially for reading, is a muscle that you can train and rebuild. So at the start of that year, it was like two pages bored, 2 pages bored, 2 pages bored. But by doing it, I mean, this is standard advice. By doing it every day, you build that tolerance, you build that patience, you build that tenacity again. And now I can sit down and read a book like over 2 hours. It is a skill that you, not the speed of the reading, but the persistence. You can rebuild it. Even if you're like, I used to read, I love it, I miss it. Cool. Set a half-hour alarm and read for half an hour, and it'll be weirdly hellish at the start. But within just, it's like going to the gym. Within months, you will see the difference so quickly.
Yeah, you feel yourself becoming more focused and more alert and more
and able to immerse.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna share a fun fact from the Spring Snow Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Until shortly after World War II, Japanese people reckoned age by the number of different years that you lived in, rather than by birthdays. Isn't that interesting?
Number of different years you lived in?
Yeah. So my son was born at the very end of the year. So by the time that January rolled around, he would have been considered 2 in Japanese.
Okay.
Instead of 0.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's wild.
I did not know that. I know that this author has a extremely interesting story about how he came about writing this, and just like, I'm not going to get into it now. We don't have the time, but he's got a very interesting story if you want to look up Yukio Mishima. But I have kept you long enough. We have kept the audience long enough. Let's wrap this podcast up. This has been the Operation Game Night podcast. I have been Travis. He has been Clay. He has been the one and only Peter C. Hayward. Thank you for coming on. We will see you next week, right, Peter?
Yeah. I'm just the host now, right? That's
Yeah.
Hey,
we're becoming friends.
So much for having me. It's been a delight.
Yeah, make sure to check out all of Peter's board game designs. Make sure to look forward to his screenplay is coming to a screen near you. Check out the Blueprints for Life podcast. Check out the show notes. I will post a link there. Check out his YouTube channel. You have so much going on.
Barbara Is You launching on September 15th.
Yeah, back that for sure. That's a must back. So, Peter, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on and answering our questions. And we will see you all next week on the Operation Game Night. And we are out.